biggest thing that's going through my mind is excitement. Excitement and a little bit of anxiety. The numbers that we've seen coming in from all of our precincts here in Ames, we have a little group chat for all our precinct captains. Like, the numbers we've seen coming in are really strong. We've seen Bernie significantly winning by large margins in the precincts here, and getting not just a huge number of first preference votes, but also picking up delegates in second preferences. At my precinct, we managed to pick up our final delegate. We picked up by a single vote.
Wow.
And so that huge turnout that we've got, that I think has kind of overwhelmed many precinct locations, it's made all the difference. It was pretty chaotic. I think a lot of people didn't expect just what the numbers would be like for different groups, and I think we were really fortunate. I was really fortunate to have a nice venue for our caucus. We weren't in a school gym or something. And I think after the speeches that all the precinct captains gave, there were a lot of people who didn't realize just how much energy there would be in the room for Bernie, and how much it would be not me just giving the speech, but how much it would be us, the whole audience, joining in and really sharing the kind of energy and momentum that we saw all across Ames, and all across Story County, and all across Iowa. So it was electric. But the energy that we have now is we're all hanging on tenterhooks, because it sounds like what happened, from my understanding, based on what we've heard on MSNBC, what we've heard on CNN, what I'm hearing reported on Twitter from verified people, etc., is that apparently the DNC's app, or the Iowa Democratic Party's app, for reporting the results crashed. It sounds like it wasn't ready for the record voter turnout that we saw tonight.
Right.
I don't know for a fact that it was record voter turnout, but I have a very strong suspicion it was record voter turnout.
Seemed like it.
It certainly was at my precinct. In 2016, my precinct caucused at the local public library. This year we had an 880-seat auditorium, and we pretty much filled it. And so I was walking around my precinct this whole past week, making sure everybody knew that they weren't going to their old location, they were going to the new one. And so that idea of having to make changes at the last minute because turnout was way higher than expected, I think. So I'm not in the loop of exactly how their thing is programmed, but it seems like it crashed. And the good news, though, was that the results are not lost, because we at the Bernie campaign, we had our own independent infrastructure. We had our own independent reporting tools. We had our own independent data collection, because Bernie has always been about ensuring that we're here ready for anything, right? That we don't need to depend on the traditional infrastructure of funders and donors, and we don't need to depend on the traditional infrastructure of the existing apps that may go down on caucus night because they weren't expecting the high voter turnout and the high enthusiasm we've seen. So we had our own independent setup, and it sounds like, from what I can tell, there was a meeting between the Iowa Democratic Party and the Sanders campaign. It sounds like they want that data, and that they want to use that data because their data hasn't been coming in. Their data is down. Their system is broken. They haven't been able to get it back up. It's kind of a perfect metaphor, right, for the system in Washington being broken, and the way in which we at the Bernie Sanders campaign, and not just in the campaign, but all of us who turned out tonight to caucus for Bernie, we're independent of that system, right? And the grassroots energy that we've been bringing out is independent of that system, and it stands on its own. But then the latest development, and the thing that has us feeling concerned, is that the Biden campaign is apparently contesting that data, which, I suppose is fair. If all the data that were coming in were coming from the Biden campaign, right, and it showed us radically underperforming what we might have expected, then we might feel inclined to contest as well. I know, I can't speak for the campaign, I'm just a volunteer, but I know I would feel a little skeptical if all the data were coming from just one campaign, and that campaign happened to do much better than many people expected. Right.
Yeah.
I would feel skeptical there. I understand why people feel skeptical, but at the end of the day, it comes back to the failure of the Democratic Party of Iowa to have a functional reporting tool that was ready for the voter turnout that we saw tonight, and ready for just how many Iowans came out and made their voices heard in my precinct, all across here in Ames, all across Story County, all across the whole state, and that kind of turnout, that's what we're going to need this fall. It's what we're going to need to beat Donald Trump. And that focus on turning out unexpected voters who may have never caucused before, or may have never voted in a primary before, or voted in a general election before, like bringing new people in and transforming the electorate, not just for this election, but for every presidential and local and every level of election to come. Like that's what the Bernie campaign has been doing. We've registered so many new voters. As people, all of the students on campus, I know I've been canvassing with Sunrise. We registered so many people there, even just back in the fall, before the real serious get out the caucus month of this past month happened. The campaign knocked 500,000 doors in this past month alone. And there are only, 3.5 million people, not 3.5 million voters, but 3.5 million people in the state.
Right.
So it's the energy that we've got and the momentum that we've got. The numbers that I'm seeing coming in from our reporting tool don't surprise me at all, and I don't think they surprise anyone who's been here on the ground knocking doors the way that we have. I haven't seen a lot of Biden literature on doors. I haven't seen a lot of Biden door knockers. And so if they are surprised by the results, my belief is that they're surprised by the results because they don't have their finger on the pulse of the communities of Iowa the way that we've had the finger on the pulse at the Bernie Sanders campaign. And the way that we have been able to reach out to people who might not have caucused or might not have caucused for the Democrats even. Right? They might have been Trump voters last time, and they feel betrayed by the Washington establishment and feel like no other candidate speaks to them, but now Donald Trump has become the swamp that he said he would drain, right? And so seeing a candidate like Bernie can bring in new people into the electorate. And now, all those folks who voted Trump in 2016 and caucused for Bernie tonight, they're all registered Democrats now. And this November, we're going to need to turn out those people. So we're going to need the Democratic Party to get on board with the infrastructure we've been building, rather than relying on the old ways that haven't been working and that didn't work in 2016.
Awesome.
So where do you see things going from here?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on how things go down with the reporting tool, with the app. We're kind of in suspense right now, waiting to see. I'm just glancing over there at Wolf Blitzer on CNN. If we had good data showing that Bernie really crushed it tonight, as it sounds like we do, and as it sounds like he has, and that data was the best data we have, and it's not honored, I think there are a lot of people who would be very, very angry. And I think that that's a really dangerous direction for the Democratic Party to go in. I think it's why we lost in 2016. I don't know if you noticed, but Donald Trump had fewer votes than Mitt Romney. We lost in 2016 because people didn't feel excited to show up for the Democratic establishment candidate. There were so many people who we could have brought into that electorate in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. We've got a poll where Bernie beats Trump in a head-to-head matchup right now, even in Texas. Right? And there were so many people we could have brought into the electorate last time, and so many people who came out to vote for Obama who then didn't show up in 2016 because they felt like the system was rigged. And if the results of the Iowa caucus and the will of the people and the will of the voters, the will of the caucus goers isn't honored, I think a lot of people will feel that way again. So I just hope that the Democratic Party gets their act together, and if they can't figure that out, that they make the right decision and go with the best data that we have. Which, when the Democratic Party infrastructure fails, as in so many things, the best thing we've got